I am very excited to be joined by Ahmed Zifzaf, who's the head of crypto payments at Worldpay. Ahmed, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, head of crypto payments at Worldpay. Tell me a little bit more about what that role actually entails, and maybe especially about some of the interesting things that have been happening recently.
Absolutely. So Worldpay is one of the largest payment processors in the world. We do $2.5 trillion in payments. We've been traditionally servicing crypto companies with traditional payments for the last 10 years. So when you go to an exchange and you want to use your credit card, that's typically what we've done. Well, I've been brought on and sort of been building out a team that kind of does the flip side. How do we take the best innovations within blockchain that add value to merchants globally, some of the biggest companies around the world? How do we bring them on chain? How do we show them what the value of a stablecoin is? And sort of all the different use cases you can have there. So a lot of what we've been focusing on is things like, or this coming year, we'll launch and really roll out stablecoin payouts. So if you're a large marketplace with, global sellers or drivers or whatever it might be, being able to instantaneously or real time push out those payments is something that we're looking to enable. Solana is one of our most recent announcements that we're really focusing on from like an on-chain payments perspective. But of course, we want to do the whole end-to-end flow. So fiat in, crypto out, crypto in, fiat out. From an acceptance standpoint, from a settlement fund standpoint, those are all the types of things that I get to work on a daily basis, which kind of keeps me pumped up.
I can imagine. And so what are some of the biggest friction points that you're seeing then from clients that are maybe not yet ready to enter the space or are ready, but are still uncertain about how to?
I would say there's a lot of merchant demand that we're seeing. If anything, we're trying to meet that demand now by sort of scaling up a lot of what we're working on. I would say from a friction standpoint, a lot of it is like an educational standpoint of how do I incorporate this within my payments flow? I already have, billions of dollars that, customers or businesses are paying me. How do I reconcile this with an on-chain payment? So a lot of it is sort of in the details of how do we actually get this at scale in production. But I would say there's more demand than anything than friction, I would say, at this point.
It's actually quite a good problem to have or a good situation to be in, right?
I agree. Yeah.
And with your global standpoint, are you seeing much like regional differentiation?
I would say absolutely. Areas like the UAE, definitely you're seeing some of the highest adoption of digital assets, both from a payment perspective, from an investment perspective. You do see emerging markets in general, so areas that are affected most by inflation or currency risk. They're really adopting this much quicker. And then I would say like the other categories, big businesses that are doing a lot of cross-border flows or remittance flows, they're really looking to adopt this type of technology to improve their margins or to speed up how fast their money is sort of arriving in the consumer or business's pocket. So I would say it's a broad spectrum in terms of like pockets of regions and then categories of businesses that are really interested in this type of technology.
And so I know we were speaking before, grew up here or you spent a lot of time here, been coming back and forth. Yeah. What is it about the UAE specifically that you think makes it ripe for being innovative in this space?
Yeah, so, I grew up here in like 1990s, came back here for my first job in 2015. I would say it's the attitude towards innovation where it's not something that there's friction or something to be scared of. I was here and helped sort of be part of the company that set up the Ministry of AI.
Amazing.
And till today, I don't think there's many other countries that really have gone to that lengths of saying, we really want to, stamp our flag on a new technology.
Yeah.
And I think it's that sort of confidence and momentum that you can build from a state level that really allows it to be very innovative. So you come to the UAE as a crypto company or as a payments company or any sort of company, and you have the infrastructure to be able to innovate in that way. So the UAE today has, I would say one of the best projects in terms of a CBDC that they're able to offer. In terms of a real-time payments network, Abu Dhabi has one of like sort of the pioneering ones as well. You're seeing them introduce regulation that allows Circle and Tether to come here and sort of establish themselves. You don't really see that anywhere. A lot of people look to the US where I live now and say the Genius Act, Clarity Act, this is changing everything. And I agree. But you look at a country like the UAE where they're just really pushing the envelope in terms of what does next generation digital infrastructure look like.
And so then, you've got so much going on by the sounds of it from like both sides of the equation. What are you looking for in 2026?
2026 will be a big year for taking what we had as pilots or as things that we were scoping out and really putting them into the world. So really scaling them up. We have a lot of merchants who've been asking for these type of products for a while. We've started with them. Now, next year, we really want to kind of push and sort of, announce and advertise. So what is the success that we've seen? I think we're really bullish on payouts. So being able to disperse those payments. We're adding new networks and new assets pretty regularly. And now we have the technical capabilities to do that much quicker than usual. So I would say 2026, from a company perspective, it's how do we participate in a very impactful way within the whole ecosystem. But then I would say from a general market perspective, I think we want to see how does these regulations and how do sort of some of these projects by governments really pan out? Like, are merchants going to say, hey, we want to move even more of our payments on chain? Or are they going to say, hey, we want to take our time? That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, super interesting. Well, thank you so much for enabling so much in the space from like a B2B level and also a consumer level. It's been really great having you on. Thanks, Ahmed.
Thank you so much.